The 38th Annual Fire Muster Parade is underway in Burnsville, Minnesota. Another pristine, gorgeous day on this September 9th, 2017. The dutiful Brian Carlson by my side to take us through some of these wonderful fire vehicles. Good morning, Brian.
Hey, good morning, Sam. Thank you so much for having me. It's my pleasure to spend the afternoon or the morning here with you.
Well, it's always a pleasure to have you. You provide great insights. And while we await these flashing lights and these beeping sirens, why don't you take us through kind of what's new in the fire department of late? I know a big addition to the ambulance unit, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So as you know, we're the paramedics for the community as well as the fire department. And this year, one of the big changes at the fire department has been an additional ambulance that we added to our deployment. So for the first time since 1984, we have an additional ambulance on the street, which means we have 3 ambulances covering the city, which we added that to decrease response times and make sure that we're optimizing the service we provide to the community. So it's been a tremendous addition, and that's been working real well for us.
And the ambulances, as well as the fire trucks, they might be more linked than people would realize because you cross-train all of the employees, correct?
Yeah, and we're a pretty unique fire department in the state, actually. So all of our folks, as you said, are cross-trained as both firefighters and paramedics, which enables them to really handle any emergency that comes our way.
Well, we have got a lot of flashing lights ahead of us, and these are the active vehicles. These are members that are or trucks that are in your department, and we should be seeing some of the big bad vehicles that you've got going here, the biggest and best that the department has to offer. And what do you think we're going to have leading off here?
You know, I think we get to see our fire chief is leading it off. So we'll start off with some of our staff vehicles, our fire chief, and I believe some of our other assistant chiefs, and then followed, like you said, by our on-duty fire engines and ambulances.
And, of course, we have the community parade coming up right after the fire muster portion, which will last 15 to 20 minutes. We've got current vehicles. We have older, retired vehicles. And at some point, we should see some FDNY officers who are in town for the festivities. So this should be a wonderful event, and we're very glad that you joined us here on BCTV. Again, it's Brian Carlson and Sam Ekstrom with you for the fire muster. So how many vehicles are there in the department total?
So total for ambulances, we actually have 5 ambulances in the fleet. And right now we have, I believe, 3 fire engines and a ladder truck are our primary and backup apparatus. So you'll see a number of those today.
And you mentioned that the chief is going to be at the front of the line. How long has he been serving in that role?
So Fire Chief B.J. Jungman, he's been serving in that role for, I believe, 6, maybe 7 years. He's been our chief. And so he was here as a firefighter paramedic, left to be an assistant chief at another neighboring department, and then came back as our fire chief.
And this is probably the part of the show where you share some amusing anecdotes about the chief or tell some jokes about him. No, I'm just kidding. I won't put you on the spot like that. We would never ask you to do anything like that. We've got a lot of great flashing lights. Great for the kids. I mean, a perfect crowd out here.
Sam, when I got a chance to drive up here, I looked in the crowd, lots of smiling faces, and I even saw a number of kids that must have got their Halloween gear and were in their own turnout gears and fire helmets, and that's always exciting to see.
And it really builds, I think, a level of excitement over a department that deserves a lot of respect. And I think when the kids, they get to see all of these, working class heroes in this parade, that really helps, I think, strengthen the relationship between the community and the department.
And it's definitely something that we're proud to do. And so all of our folks are excited to be part of the community, and however we can help out is what our guys are proud to do.
Now, you are the assistant chief, Brian, so what would you say that the 9 to 5 looks like in your day?
Yeah, so I oversee the EMS, the paramedic side of the house, and our training. So in my role, I supervise and keep track of all the medical side of the house, including equipment and dealing with the hospitals and the clinics in town, and helping keep up to date with our medical guidelines and the billing side and just the overall administrative management of the ambulance side of the house.
And now we're getting into the biggest trucks that they have to offer. Here's Burnsville Fire Engine number 1.
Yeah, this is a Pierce fire engine that's stationed out of our Station 1.
And as you might expect, right behind engine 1 is engine number 2.
And you might notice that they look really similar. We try to keep we've had been fortunate to be able to purchase those vehicles within a relative time frame. So they look really similar and they're designed really similar as well.
And now the paramedics vehicles right here behind the Burnsville fire trucks. We got M1 right here.
So same thing with our ambulances. Medic 1 and Medic 2 and Medic 3 are coming up, and they both are all designed the same, and so that really increases our efficiency, and it's for interoperability that they're designed pretty much the same.
How different are vehicles from place to place? Like if you went to a vehicle in Rosemount, per se, would you know exactly how to operate it, or would there be a learning curve there?
For the most part, I would say they're very similar with small variations, but you know how they pump and how they work are all pretty similar. They look different though. We'll see that today. Tons of different colors and shapes.
And we've got a rescue vehicle here with a boat being hauled behind for, I assume, water rescue.
Yeah, one of the things that we're not just the firefighters, not just the paramedics. We respond to any emergency that comes up, including things that happen on the waterways.
Now, help out a guy who actually lives in Minneapolis. Where is the nearest place where people congregate in the water? Where is this often taken?
Beautiful Crystal Lake here in Burnsville.
A silly question for many watching, but for the announcer, that was insightful. So thank you for entertaining. And now we have engine number 2 again here, or 21, excuse me.
Yep, it is engine 21, which is one of our backup apparatus. So if their vehicle is down for maintenance, we'll switch into this vehicle.
The mobile command center, that might be by far the coolest vehicle. I mean, you've got to be a pretty cool guy to work in the command center, I feel like.
They are. That is one of our high-tech vehicles we have in our fleet. So it's a joint venture between our police and fire department, and is called out on major incidents.
And I imagine behind those, the exterior there's a lot of equipment, a lot of communication equipment, and a lot of workstations set up.
There is indeed, absolutely. That some of the biggest incidents that have occurred in Burnsville, that is where the people that are running the incident actually operate out of.
And we are now moving into the retired vehicles, and this is where it gets really fun. Different shapes, different sizes, different sounds. We just saw a 1980 Peterbilt, and we move now to a former St. Anthony truck, a 1972 Ford L9000 pumper with Dan McNulty, the collector.
And Sam, here we get to see, here comes the different colors. We saw lots of red Burnsville fire engines, and now we're going to get to see some of the different shapes and sizes. And for me, it's always fun to see some of these older vehicles and the history that is behind some of these.
And McNulty also has a 1975 apparatus in his collection, this second yellow vehicle that you're seeing here. They've gotten bigger over the years, haven't they?
They sure have. And you know, some of these older apparatus, remember, firefighters used to ride on the back and hang off the side. And so you see as we get to more and more modern vehicles, as they're enclosed cabs.
Excuse me. Go ahead.
Instead of riding outside, they get to ride inside.
Dan McDonald, the collector of this 1969 Chevrolet John Bean FMC pumper. And remind everybody what pumper actually means.
Yeah, so a fire engine is exactly that. It's a pumper. So buried in, if you were to strip away the cabinets, you would see a fire pump. That water comes into the fire engine, it increases the pressure, and then they push it out the fire hoses.
A 2017 Egan vehicle, a custom pumper fire apparatus, followed up by a 1988 Chanhassen fire truck, LTI aerial platform.
It's a beautiful platform truck that they have. So that ladder actually extends out about 100 feet. Would enable them to get to about any building that's about 6 or 7 stories.
What's the life of a fire truck usually?
Usually for us, it's about 10 years. Then they're in the primary response role. Then they spend about 10 years in backup. So most apparatus, about 20 years.
Josh Grubb, the collector of this fire engine, a 1989 Mack CF Pierce MFG EX. That's a lot of acronyms there. Do you know what all that means?
I don't know.
That is a very good-looking vehicle. Randolph Brush Truck, 1958 International Harvester.
In some of these rural areas, they have smaller vehicles like that so they can navigate unpaved roads and fires that might occur in off-road places.
There's a 1966 truck, model 88C, pumper engine, collected by Sean Harrington. Pat and Michelle Higgins, retired 1977 Pierce pumper tanker.
And Sam, some of these collectors, they spend tons of time collecting these and maintaining these in condition. So my hat is off to these collectors that maintain these vehicles. It's a great way to preserve the history of the fire service.
Naomi and Thomas Walker, a 1946. That's the oldest one we've seen yet, a Boyer pumper out of Menominee, Wisconsin.
That is a fun one to see.
Nice family in there. Joe Manders also collecting a 1954 Mack pumper. Yeah, the shapes and sizes have changed, but the noises really have not. It's still the same.
Those are, yeah.
You always know when there's one coming.
That's right.
Rosemount Fire Department, 2016. Still a long ways to go here in the fire muster. Brian Carlson, Sam Ekstrom on this gorgeous day, 62 degrees as the parade begins. 2003 from Crystal. Right there. Well, I'm intrigued to see what we have coming up here. It's almost like a kind of a golf cart. A 1937 Dodge pumper.
And
Look
Sam,
at that beauty.
That is, and Sam, on the side of that, you see some hoses that look like they're rigid. Those are hoses that they can use to actually pull water out of a river.
And it looks like they've got a bell on the front of that one, which may be replacing the siren noise almost, which is pretty amazing.
We might need one of those in Burnsville.
Yes. You got to have a backup in case the sound ever goes out. You ever have to replace the batteries on those things, or do they just last forever?
They last forever. Yeah, they run off the vehicle battery, so they keep going.
1946 Chevrolet pumper, I believe, collected by Dusty Thune out of Buffalo. This is a 1980 in-plant fire truck. Only 12 of these produced.
Huh.
It's a very special engine. From Patterson Air Force Base. All right, a little break in it. And we get to a new Brighton fire engine.
Sam, for me, it's always fun to see some of our neighboring fire departments. We work so closely with a number of our neighbors, and it's always fun to see some of these different cities, Lexington and Chanhassen, and some of these cities come join us.
When there's a significant fire, do you ever team up with a different fire department to join forces?
All the time. Yep, we have what we call automatic aid agreements. So if there's a major incident in Burnsville or in a neighboring community, we often see neighboring departments joining us, and we work really well together and are happy that they're willing and able to help us.
And we go from a 2016 in New Brighton back about 64 years to 1952. A Savage Fire Department Dodge pumper.
An interesting fact, the Savage Fire Department, before the city of Burnsville was incorporated, actually used to cover the city of Burnsville back in the 1950s. So who knows? Maybe this 1950 Savage vehicle responded to Burnsville back in the day.
And I don't know for sure, but I would imagine that back in the day, there was probably one, maybe two trucks that covered the whole community, and they probably had to expand the force significantly as the suburban population has sort of increased.
Absolutely, yeah. There probably was back in the 1950s, probably not a lot back there. So yeah, one vehicle could probably cover it.
Another Savage engine there. You see a lot of reds, a lot of yellows. You ever see like a blue fire truck anywhere?
You know, you go around the country and look at pictures, and there's about every color you can think of.
That's amazing. 1934 from Shakopee. That might be our oldest here.
That might be. Some of these older trucks, one of the things that they've restored on some of them is the ladders. If you look along the side of them, they have actually restored wooden ladders, which we don't use a whole lot anymore.
1968 from South St. Paul, and then moving to a 1977, collected by Gary Lawrence, a 1,500-gallon pumper. Is 1,500 gallons, is that a typical unit today, or is it much bigger than that?
That's pretty close to what it is today. Yep.
And what is the 1,500 number actually referring to?
The pump that we were talking about that's kind of buried inside the fire engine, it's the amount of water that pump can move, is capable of moving. So water comes in, and then that's what's able to push out the fire hoses.
It's quite an operation. All right, there's a Mud Bay Fire Department Engine 2. Eden Prairie, the 2005 engine, E1 Pumper Rescue, E22.
And we've seen a number of different names for these, and there's a number of different fire engine manufacturers out there, and I venture to guess we have almost every one of them represented here.
There's a Lakeville 2016 Rosenbauer Command Rescue Pumper.
Sam, I got to ask, is that your favorite light on the front there, that twirly?
I think it is. You know, it kind of reminds me of a fidget spinner, and I'm a millennial, so I love those things. So I'm required to say yes.
That is the fire department version of a fidget spinner. We just created something new.
We did. This is going to be the new trend of 2018 engines. Cottage Grove with a 1985 Ford L9000 custom fire pumper collected by Dan Nekanicki. And before this ends, worth mentioning that 9/11 in 2 days, and you know, we always are thinking back to what firefighters did 16 years ago on that fateful day in 2001. This always kind of falls around that time of year, so a good time to reflect, I think, on what happened back in 2001.
Yeah, this is always a solemn day for, I think, many Americans, and certainly for us in the fire service, losing 343 firefighters on that day. It is a day that I think humbles all of us.
And present today, there were 4 New York Fire Department members. Three fire department members, excuse me, 1 police. There's 1 active fire department member, and 3 of them retired of those 4. But here to just basically raise awareness of the event and to support the fire muster, that's a really, really cool thing. Looks like we've reached the end of the fire engine portion. Brian Carlson, good enough to join us once again this year.
Thank you so much for having me, Sam.
Thanks a lot, Brian, and we'll swap you out with John Mara and get him in for the community portion. Brian will exit and I'm sure go enjoy the rest of the parade and the day with his loved ones and family. And John coming into the fold as we have yes, they should. Very, very neat. Time for the community portion. John, as we reset here, how have you been since hockey season? That's kind of the last time we touched base.
Well, I went through every hockey fan's withdrawal and enjoyed the summer. And it's been a glorious summer. It's not quite over yet. So all good. And there's Mayor Elizabeth Kautz.
Leading the way, elected in 1994. City of Burnsville elected its first council in 1964. And we moved to Coordinated Business Systems, a proud sponsor of the Fire Muster Parade for the past 12 years. Its employees participating in the Light the Night Walk, raising money for the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society.
Long-time Burnsville business. Started in 1983 with 3 employees, now have over 90.
Celebrating its 34th anniversary. Walker Automotive Group with 4 local dealerships. Walser is a proud member of the Burnsville community, with 5% of all pre-tax earnings donated back to the people and communities in which they live.
And that is a significant sum and a generous contribution to the community.
Well, we're seeing our first candy throwers of the day.
Yeah, we seem to be kind of protected here from candy. I'm a little worried we might get shut out again.
It seems to happen every year. It's like we have chicken pox or something. They avoid us.
Well, maybe it looks like we have diabetes and they're trying to help us out.
It's probably all the wild waving that I'm doing with my arms. Probably deters them. There's
Council member Dan Keeley.
Dan Keeley, who I've got the number right here. He was elected, I think, in re-elected in 2014, I should say. A Walser Automotive vehicle here as well. We just discussed them. Big home opener football game last night. John, Blaze got the win, and it seems like every year we're always talking about a Blaze football win when we have this parade.
An exciting last-minute win. And I did watch it last night. I wasn't there, but I watched it on television.
Yours truly and Luke Inman had the call, and it was quite thrilling with a Burnsville 5-point win. We've got the Studio 4 dancers. They've recently developed a program for children with special needs under the direction of Cindy Liedman, and the story of the program recently showcased on KARE 11 News.
The 4 sisters, Carrie, Stacy, Heather, and Melissa Nelson. Studio 4 is the 4 sisters who have begun it.
They've won numerous regional and national titles, and they are feeling the beat. And the great part about a lot of these floats is they bring the music along with them. They bring the entertainment. They've got the dancing. They've got some people doing flips, some people doing karate, a lot of candy being thrown around. Every float offers something new for the spectators.
Excellent turnout, and they offer outstanding dance instruction for children 18 months to 18 years. So that about covers it.
18 months. Wow. The Discover Church, a church for the Burnsville community and for families in the community for over 40 years. And this is still Studio 4 follow-up here.
Yeah, that's quite a turnout. And who doesn't like being in a parade or watching a parade?
And we were talking about it with Brian a little bit, but every single year, Mother Nature seems to cooperate with the Burnsville Fire Muster.
Yeah, beautiful cloudless day. It was a little breezy earlier, but we're in a nice little spot here. We have the elevated camera there that DJ's operating, and wind doesn't affect that and gives just an outstanding view.
I think they call it the jib. I think that's the technical term for the camera. I hope that wasn't a bad word. I think that's the name of it. All right, Dennis Diesner of Kraus Anderson Insurance, active member of the Burnsville Chamber for more than 25 years, longtime member of the Burnsville Rotary.
Business Person of the Year is the award that he's won this year. Been on the board of directors for Homeward Bound, a nonprofit with special needs for children, and currently serves on the Association of General Contractors Scholarship Fundraising Committee.
And there's Anchor Bank, family-owned, Minnesota-based bank celebrating 50 years. Big bank services with small-town attention.
Member FDIC.
Measuring our greatest achievements by the success of our customers, they say. We're going to see all sorts of businesses, restaurants, churches, bands. It's going to be a full show for the thousands lining the streets here near Burnsville City Hall.
Parade route goes for well over a mile, and people are lined up the entire route.
Devani's, part of the Burnsville community for 29 plus years, local and family owned, 22 restaurant locations.
If you haven't tried one of their hot hoagies, they are the original hot hoagies, and I'm sure I had one 29 years ago and been having them ever since.
Calzones, pasta, salads, desserts, and local craft beer. You can get it all at Devani's.
Visit devanis.com for menu and locations.
It's lunchtime right after this, John. Might get a hankering to go get a hoagie.
Yeah, I don't think we're going to have enough candy to satisfy.
I like the
I like the pizza.
The
garb.
pizza costume.
Yeah.
Yes. Where can I get one for Halloween?
You can use it more than just for Halloween.
Really, any day of the week.
Yeah.
Business casual.
Who doesn't like? Yeah.
Rock and jump. Now this one. I mean, I want to go to this place maybe after I go to Devani's and work off some of that pizza. Rock climbing, Ninja Warrior, dodgeball court, slam dunk basketball at Rock and Jump.
Yeah, that'd be fun. I don't know. Do you have to wait like 30 minutes like you do before you go swimming, before you do something like that?
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure they don't like people getting sick on their equipment. Chick-fil-A.
Eat more chicken. Hey, we got some bling. We finally got some bling.
All right.
All right.
Thank you. Well, how about that? They're located on County Road 42, by the way, in Burnsville. Just 2 years open, so if you haven't been there yet, make sure you get out there.
Yeah, it's a destination for many. Chick-fil-A, famous chicken.
Extreme Clean Soft Wash, the better alternative to pressure washing. Results last 4 times longer than pressure washing, 100% biodegradable as well.
Not only that, they talk about roof cleaning, and if you're like me and you've got shingles on the north end, they get a little bit of mold underneath, and it cleans it up, and boy, that makes a house look like it's got a new coat of paint.
I could definitely use something like that for my deck, and you know how winter just does a number on decks around here. It gets that paint all chipped, and you've got all that peeling stuff. Extreme Clean Soft Wash. Augustana Regent at Burnsville. Experience senior living with Augustana Regent. They've overlooked beautiful Early Lake. They've got 4 levels of care: independent living, assisted living, care suites, and memory care.
Augustana Care was founded in 1896.
1896.
1896 by Lutheran pastor Carl J. Petrie.
Offering a full life continuum of care.
Over 25 communities.
Coming up next, the TGC Property Services. And they call it a one-stop shop for all of your property maintenance needs, specializing in mowing, landscaping, fertilizing, and weed control. The summer always goes by, and I've never done enough of those things in my own yard,
right.
Despite being well-meaning. I want to do it, but I just don't have the time.
Well, right now is the perfect time to aerate your yard and overseed it, and I'm sure they've got the resources to handle that.
It was launched in 2004 by Charlie Britt and Durham School Services. I mean, listen to some of these numbers. They've been serving students for 100 years, since 1917. They've got more than 17,000 school buses and 400 school districts across the country. And
just think about America's future being transported in those yellow buses for all those years. No more precious cargo.
Iconic, so iconic. A lot of kids getting in those buses for the first time for their first day of school. The SharePoint Credit Union, we don't want to forget about them. 4 branches in the Twin Cities Metro, located in the heart of the city.
This credit union membership is open to anyone who lives or goes to school in the 7 metro counties.
It looks like we have Mari's School of Dance coming up next. Tap, ballet, jazz, hip hop. What kind of dance would you specialize in, John, if you were taking dance classes?
Whatever word it is, probably not suitable for public consumption. I just can't dance. I never have. I never will. You're supposed to dance like nobody's looking. I notice people look away. So it's all for the better. But I enjoy watching fine athletes dance. My daughter was a dancer, and those dance shows are great.
Well, Burnsville has a great tradition of dance as well, so that's kind of where it starts, and they also offer classes beginning at 18 months. 2 men in a truck. They've been in Burnsville since 1999, working with the Lewis House Women's Shelter. 4 offices.
And they started with 2 trucks, so it should have been 2 men and 2 trucks, but this is kind of a better title anyway. But they have 4 offices, 20 trucks, and about 60 movers and drivers. And they are just warming up.
We've got around 75 floats in today's community parade. This is the Burnsville Hockey Club.
Is it?
Well, it should be.
It should be.
Oh no, I think they switched.
That's the order that I had, but
They
those look like to be new uniforms this year. Looks like 2 men in a truck.
This may be a switcheroo in the old program. Yeah, 2 men in a truck following up. I don't know if I want the pizza costume or the truck costume more.
I think pizza might be a little more comfortable, but you probably get away more with the truck. So now we have the Presbyterian Church of the Apostles in Burnsville, the PCA worship band.
Established in 1965, over 50 years ago, and they got together 10 years ago. Steve Johnson, their leader, got some talented musicians together to play some songs, and they are putting their talents on display.
Established as a permanent fixture of the PCA worship experience.
Well, misidentified them earlier as the Burnsville Hockey Club, but they are coming right here. Lagging behind just a bit. The Burnsville Hockey Club, that's your area of specialization, John.
Yeah, I participated in that with my kids for about 20 years, and great experience. It's a fine organization. If you're just looking to get started, they can help you get going, especially early on. There's equipment available, and skating lessons are undergoing right now at the Burnsville Ice Center. And once you get into a program, you get slotted into the correct area, and nothing like playing hockey. Makes the winters a little bit shorter.
Founded in 2001, located at the Burnsville Ice Arena. Help you with skating skills, teamwork, sportsmanship, and building your way up toward a very successful varsity program at the top level. Yanni Kivihalmi and Tracy Casano, the head coaches.
And boys and girls programs at all age levels. And Burnsville has a fine tradition of producing pretty good hockey players, both boys and girls teams going to state tournaments and having fun along the way.
And they've got some candy, they've got some pamphlets, a lot of young skaters. You know, whenever I watch youth hockey in Minnesota, I'm always blown away. Sometimes it's hard to tell whether they're 7 years old or 17 years old because they're so good at such a young age.
Well, and that's kind of the joy. You go out to a rink late at night and you'll have 7-year-olds and 17-year-olds figuring out how to play together.
Yep. Roz Peterson, state representative in her 2nd legislative term in the Minnesota House of Representatives. Here's what she's done. She's successfully passed legislation to help clean up the freeway landfill, passed bills that help people with disabilities, as well as restored legislative oversight to executive pay for state commissioners.
Roz is honored to serve the communities of Burnsville and Lakeville in State House District 56B.
So, John, do you take part in the other festivities of the weekend? I know there's more than just the parade here today.
Yeah, they have outstanding music this year. I believe last night it was the Johnny Holm Band who's been making people listen to music for a couple of decades over the 5-state area. And last night, I should point out, they had a presentation. Burnsville Community Appreciation Night ceremony was held, and Burnsville resident Mike Kearns, a longtime Boy Scout and food shelf volunteer, received the Ken Slipka Community Volunteer Award. And Mike is my next door neighbor, and I notice he's been involved in Boy Scouts since my kid was in Scouts, and good to see him get that recognition. The whole weekend, there's music tonight, and still plenty of fire muster weekend left.
Very cool. This is the Ebenezer Ridges campus, senior living, providing senior services since 1917, a 100-year anniversary. Skilled care, assisted living, independent living, transitional care. They are definitely good at what they do for the last century.
Yeah, and Burnsville's a community. You see it nurtures its youth and takes care of its people in the 7th, 8th, and 9th inning of their lives, if you will.
The Burnsville High School Blazettes. We saw them with their inaugural performance at halftime last night of the football game. There are 53 Blazettes this year, and they will be hosting a dance clinic for aspiring young dancers on Sunday, September 17th from 1 to 5 p.m.
They're also hosting a dinner, barbecue, and silent auction on Sunday, September 10th from 4 to 7 at the Faith Covenant Church in Burnsville.
And that'll help fund costumes, get additional coaching, and help with training.
Maybe a bigger car. I don't know. That's an interesting, it's like a double long Mini. Is that a Maxi Mini?
That is unreal. And for a second, I thought that young man was driving it, but the steering wheel is on the other side.
Yeah, it's perfect for parade.
It's basically an extension of last night's halftime show. We've got the Burnsville Blaze Marching Band, a regular participant in the fire muster. 85 members under the direction of Keith French and Paul Cannell. Let's just listen in a little bit.
You know, yeah, very entertaining.
Sounds like Bruno Mars.
Yeah, I live close enough to the high school. I can hear them practicing, and I can hear the halftime shows. It carries something about these types of horns carry really well in the fall era.
It wouldn't be a parade without a marching band. They'll be marching in several other parades this year. Of course, the school year just got underway, and all of the renovations at the high school finally complete. It really looks great over there.
Yeah, quite a change. They've added another year. Now it's 9 through 12, and now they have everything in place.
I was part of the drum line back in middle school, not high school, but drum line. That was my jam. I didn't have the chops to play a real instrument, so I just banged on the drums.
And you got interested in drums. Did your parents introduce you to that, or some enemy of your parents?
Let's just say they didn't fight it too hard when I said I was going to call it quits.
Yeah.
Jason Lewis, the 2nd Congressional District Congressman. He's walking with Jack Bergman, a retired Marine Lieutenant General and BHS graduate. Believes in lower taxes, accessible health care, and improving schools.
And a vintage, what is that? Are you up on your vintage cars?
Probably not, but I can appreciate them. I'm not sure what's older, that or some of those old vintage fire trucks.
Yeah, boy, I noticed Burnsville has got a lot of firepower or anti-fire power. That was the first half mile of the parade. Now we have the Burnsville High School Alpine ski team.
Yes, we do. The girls team started in 1993. They've been to state 4 times, finishing 3rd in 2001. I think they produced Claire Abbey, who won in 2003 and 2004 in the individual state championship battle. The boys team with 3 state appearances as well.
And Buck Hill, their home hill, if you will, and they were in the news recently. I think Lindsey Vaughn was back for
I
a
think she
photo
was,
op.
yes.
Yeah, who,
yes.
Initially sliced down those slopes and moved on to bigger hills. An amazingly high number of skiers come out of this area with Christina Kosnick and Paula Molson and others attaining various levels of success.
Always fun to cover those section meets on BC TV out at the hill. Get a couple of those in each year. The Lutheran Church of the Ascension. You can visit them each Friday morning for a day-old Panera Bread giveaway. For over 50 years, they've been a proud member of the community. They're on East Cliff Road near Highway 13. And they're keeping people hydrated.
Yep, they are, and it's a good day for it.
A gorgeous one. It was 62 degrees when the parade started and heating up today. The 10-day forecast is impeccable.
Making up for all those rainy days with a nice, lukewarm, beautiful fall weather.
Tough to beat.
The Atlanta Swim Academy.
A private swim school offering baby classes, children's classes, pre-competitive swim lessons. They are located off Highway 13 and Chowan Avenue.
The Atlanta Swim Academy was added on to Elite Gymnastics Academy in 2013 to provide high-quality swim lessons for families in the Southwest Metro.
Lessons Monday through Saturday. You could even go get a swim lesson today if you wanted to, perhaps.
And here we go. Here's an early leader in the float of the year.
Oh, my goodness. I've got a trivia question for you. Do you know what Cub stands for?
Well, I saw it in the notes, so I'm cheating, and I would have to say if I learned anything out of this entire broadcast, it would be this. I did not know that. It stands for Consumers United for Buying. And look, we got candy.
Whoa.
Candy and bling.
Thank you, Cub.
Thank you, Cub.
And their Cub is also named after Culver Davis, one of their founders. Cub was his nickname, and then they turned that nickname into an acronym.
And everybody around here knows Cub.
Thank you. Thank you. This is very poor for my health, but I will eat it all later.
ISD 191 Board of Education.
Starting Vision 191, working to redesign the district to meet the needs of today's learners.
Burnsville, Minnesota Valley Figure Skating Club.
Join them for the annual Impressions on Ice show, spring of 2018. They were founded in 1978, so a big 40th anniversary bash coming up. Can also be on Team Velocity, their synchronized skating team. That sounds fun.
Yeah, and again, if you're interested in skating, whether it's hockey or figure skating, you can always get lessons at the Learn to Skate program at the Burnsville Ice Center.
I could use some. When you grow up in South Dakota, you don't learn to skate quite at the same age as they do in Minnesota.
All right, we have the Pawn America Boys and Girls Clubs.
Brad Rixman started Kids Feeding Kids, a program in partnership with the Twin Cities Boys and Girls Club 12 years ago. And they are serving over 160,000 meals a day when they are open.
And Kids Feeding Kids kitchens are now in the Twin Cities and Rochester and serve over 160,000 hot, nutritious dinner meals every day the clubs are open. And they're also very generous with the candy.
Thank you. Yeah, whenever we get candy, sometimes I feel like they're trying to bribe us for favorable coverage. But, I mean, we have nothing but favorable things to say about all of these floats, of course.
The only way it would be a problem is if we had the food in our mouth and couldn't talk, which is a risk.
Yes, it is.
That's a risk.
It's a risk that they are willing to take. All right, the MVTA, public transportation provider for residents and businesses of Egan, Apple Valley, Burnsville, Rosemount, Savage, Shakopee, and Prior Lake. 3 million rides per year. And before them, did we miss one? Sometimes we go off script and we just get to improvise.
Which is possible, yeah.
This looks like a great gymnastics demonstration, though. Oh, yeah. Oh, it's IMG gymnastics. Yeah, and that was...
They were right before Maury's.
That was...
in the old magic book here.
Up there a little ways, and we'll try to get you a little information.
And they offer gymnastics for kids 18 months and up to boys and girls. Competitive teams for both boys and girls, including rhythmic gymnastics team.
Good job finding that one, John.
Yeah, if I can find my way back now.
And here is the MVTA, that Egan Transit Station, a model for public-private partnerships, combining retail businesses with transit. So, Black Dog Swimming. Recently purchased a puppy with my wife, a black dog, and it's terrified of water. So, is that what this is? Is it for dogs or is it for people?
Well, they have a black dog walking there, but I'm guessing it's named after, was it the black dog area that the power plant is on?
Ah, yes.
Chief Black Dog, or?
Yes, year-round competitive swim team. Fall season begins on Monday.
Offering professional coaching for over 40 years.
And Burger Jones for Burnsville. I think they've got an October promotion going on where you can buy a Blaze Burger and donate $1 to a charity.
Goes to the Burnsville High School DECA. They have a semi-private dining space available. Don't forget to call for your next fundraiser.
River Hills United Methodist Church, priding ourselves on celebrating over 50 years of serving the Burnsville community.
Known as the Pumpkin Church, surprise, because of the pumpkin patch they hold every year in October, with 100% of the profits benefiting the mission project.
Over 600 members at River Hills. Well, the Lions Club float never ceases to impress.
Never disappoints. How do you clean something like that? Because that looks like it's just been cleaned.
I feel like if you touch it, your hand would be glittering for the next week.
Well, you say that like it's a bad thing.
Oh, it's not.
No.
Not at all.
Lions, Lioness, and Leos. Over 50 years serving the communities of Burnsville and Savage, helping fund projects for schools to the elderly, parks for those in need.
Chartered in May of 1966. And now we've got one of my favorites, the karate demonstrations. Let's see some board breaking. We got some spinning. We got some moves being shown here. Taekwondo. Oh, yeah.
Somebody break a board?
Yes, they did.
Never disappointing.
I tried to break a board once when I was in college, and it hurt. If you succeed, it doesn't hurt. But if you miss, if you just hit the board with your hand, it will leave
you break a board or you break your hand.
Yep. Yep, basically. The Edward Neal Elementary School, celebrating 50 years. They're serving 350 students.
School strength is the diversity, creativity, and drive of students and the dedication of staff members.
See a lot of young ones out here and their families. That's really what this parade is all about. We are right by Gideon Pond Elementary, right behind us here.
Beautiful spot for a parade. Well, what do you think?
I think this is part of Edward Neal's
50th anniversary.
I'm waiting for somebody to come out of the cake.
I'd have to wait another 50 years. It's moving, though.
Yes.
It's moving like there's somebody in there.
They're giving Lions Club a run for its money with the moving parts.
I like it. Well, you know, not only is it fun being in a parade, I bet you that was fun to build.
Yep.
Buck Hill, recreation area.
And they are expanding their services with a bigger mountain biking trail system this year and new Black Diamond Grill. After a long day of skiing and or mountain biking, you can get refreshments there.
And you drive by there, you'll notice they're open for skiing. They're one of the few areas in the world that has year-round skiing. They have several runs covered in the Neveplast, which is an artificial surface. There's no getting rusty.
BAC cheerleading, following up Buck Hill, open to girls and boys, kindergarten through 6th grade. The second year BAC has offered cheerleading.
I've noticed cheerleading showing up at some of the high school sports that haven't had it in a while. It's good to get that involvement.
One of the timeless high school traditions, that's for sure. Park Dental, a general dentistry practice, been in business since 1988 in Burnsville. Early morning and evening appointments and accepts most insurances. Did you have braces when you were a kid?
I did not, and I've had a couple. Half my kids have had them, half have not needed them.
I got them, and then I stopped wearing my retainers, and my teeth could use them again probably,
yeah,
so I wasn't responsible.
Coldwell Banker Burnett. They're the market share leader in home sales.
Their 9th year in business here.
And I know here's one of your favorites coming up. Bernie.
Bernie. Hi, Bernie.
The Fire Muster mascot named by Charlie Crichton, longtime city council member.
He's a Dalmatian, right?
Okay.
I think he's a Dalmatian. That's kind of the
they
iconic.
Make good fire engine dogs. Right?
Yeah. He's got the spots.
He loves to delight both children and adults, and he's always ready with a high five.
If only he had candy.
Well, with those paws, it'd be hard
to throw it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Needs a fire hose. But you'll get a high five. Now we've got Burnsville Strong.
We've got, I believe, Red Savoy's Pizza.
Oh, yeah.
Teaming up with Burnsville Football. Red Savoy's Pizza, serving old school pizza since 1965. We had some last night at our broadcast station. It was very delicious.
And these are amongst the most energetic candy givers around. Working the crowd.
There's Vince Varpness, the new head coach. And they're all smiling after a win last night.
Yeah, and they know it. All right.
All right. Tootsie Rolls from the football team. From football to softball. BAC girls recreational slow pitch softball as a summer and fall league. Instructional with a competitive season for girls in grades K through 12.
And I will tell you, my kids have been involved in that for many years. The last year, my daughter ran her own team. No adult coaches. It was just a fun team, and that was encouraged. They do have some very competitive players and lots of fun to be had by all. If you like the game of softball, it's a good way to get started, and you could end up playing it your whole life.
250 girls in the summer league, 150 in the fall. Pretty good turnout. The European Wax Center offering full body waxing services. If you want a A day of pampering. The place to go.
I don't even know if I should ask, but have you ever been waxed?
Negative.
Okay.
But not something that, you know, I would be opposed to maybe at some point down the road. We'll see. I have a lot of life to live.
I know there's people that swear by it. And now we got Rack Sports Bar and Grill.
Yes, a new establishment. 4 years in business in Burnsville. Happy hour 7 days a week, serving breakfast on the weekends. Oh, we got a little coupon here. All right. We're going to have to fight over that, John.
Yeah, they're not far. They're walking distance from my house. I've been there a few times, enjoyed it every single time.
I'll let you pocket that, I guess. Well, we're getting toward the tail end. Still got another dozen or so floats left in the community parade.
ISD 191 community education. And they're touting chess at this point. I know Burnsville is a international powerhouse in chess, believe it or not.
Name that chess piece that he's holding.
That is a knight.
Yes, it is.
I can play enough chess to lose to anybody. We have the Senate District 51 Democrats.
And Sandra Mason being touted
in the Blackbird Quadrabent bicycle made by local businessman Jim Black at his shop Blackbird Designs right here in Burnsville.
And Senator Jim Carlson, proud to represent Eagan and Burnsville in the state Senate in his 3rd term. He's got 4 goals. Work on fixing infrastructure, support higher quality education, make voter registration easy, and push for more transparency in campaign contributions. Here's Spirit of Truth Church. One of the few, mostly African-American churches in the south suburbs. They've been there for over 30 years and in Burnsville for 15.
They're a cross-cultural congregation and are growing more diverse each year. They have passion for serving their community and genuinely love people with compassion and care.
Burnsville Savage Service Unit Girl Scouts. And here's their acronym for GIRL. Go-getters, innovators, risk-takers, leaders. Girl Scouts.
And this looks like a Burnsville Strong.
Well, apologies on that.
They consist of over 100 student leaders at Burnsville High School who commit to making our schools and community a better place. Started in 2014 after too many young people's lives lost, turned into a leadership group at Burnsville High School made up of juniors and seniors who are trained to mentor peers, volunteer, and be a positive support throughout our community.
Yeah, really great mantra that has helped galvanize the community over the past several years. And here are the Girl Scouts that I alluded to moments ago. The Burnsville Savage Unit has been active since 1912, over 100 years. Footsteps Dance Studios. And again, offering instruction from 18 months to adult. One of these years, we're going to see one of those 18-month-old kids.
Boogieing down the road.
Yep.
Doing the moonwalk.
Yep. Doing flips and
I'm trying to keep him from crawling up the drapes at that point. But you might as well channel that into productive good instead of evil.
Right.
And they're celebrating their 18th season. Reader's Choice Award winner for Sun This Week News in 2014, 16, and 17.
Full array of options: ballet, tap, jazz, hip-hop, lyrical, point, and high kick. Right now, it looks kind of like hip-hop.
Big smiles, too. A lot of big smiles.
Yep. And a fully decorated mid-size vehicle. Footsteps dance.
Now, would you leave that on for the night, you know, just for the heck of it?
I think so.
You
Maybe.
might get, you'd get special attention at the ballet.
Yeah. People might think that you were just married, or maybe a bachelorette party or something, or
Yeah.
you know, think that yeah.
Maybe they'd give you candy.
Right.
Life Academy. Pre-kindergarten to 8 private Christian school just off 35W north of the Minnesota River.
Began as Bloomington Christian School in 1995 with classes for PK through 4th grade, and then they added on in the following years. Changed the name to Life Academy in 2005.
The mission to provide academic excellence and an atmosphere of safety and love while preparing and equipping school-aged children for the purposes God has for them.
Our penultimate float, BHS Theater Guild, beginning season 57 at Burnsville High School. Over 200 students per year participate in their programs.
And if you get a chance to go take in one of their performances, it's highly recommended.
And last but certainly not least, Miss Petite Minnesota United States Pageants. She competed in her first ever pageant in February and won the title as Miss Petite Minnesota United States 2017. And just like that, it has come to an end. The fire, muster, and community parades have concluded. John, always love doing this with you. I mean, it is a blast to see what this community really has to offer.
Yeah, you know, sometimes you go through day-to-day life, you kind of take for granted what kind of community you live in, and then you come to something like this and you see the full diversity of services and the people here and all the fun that's had, and it makes you appreciate it that much more. And plus, boy, those fire engines are cool.
That was really neat, and of course, thinking about all the firefighters that were involved in 9/11, which happens on Monday, the 16th anniversary. So it was great to hear from Brian Carlson about that. His name's John Mara, and one of the services in this community is BCTV, and we are right back on the air on Wednesday with girls tennis, and we've got a full slate of athletic action for you in this fall season. So make sure to check the schedule, burnsville.tv/live to watch us, and you can also watch this parade back on YouTube or on demand. Again, for John, my name's Sam Ekstrom. Thanks so much for watching the 38th Annual Fire Muster Parade on BCTV.